We have faster regulatory certainty to close, and our deal is pro-consumer, it's pro-creative talent.
They told us streaming wars were slowing down. They told us consolidation was over. They told us Netflix had already won. But behind closed boardrooms, in silence louder than headlines, something happened that almost no one saw coming. Because just when Netflix looked unstoppable, just when it seemed like Hollywood's future had already been decided, another giant stepped into the shadows and said one thing: not so fast. This isn't just about Netflix. This isn't just about Paramount. And this definitely isn't just about Warner Bros. This is about control, about power, about who gets to decide what the world watches next. And once you understand what really happened here, you'll never look at streaming the same way again. For years, Netflix played the long game. They didn't build movie studios. They didn't rely on cable networks. They didn't inherit decades of legacy systems. Instead, they did something radical. They went direct to the audience. They studied habits. They mastered data. They learned what people binge, when they stop watching, and why they come back. While Hollywood argued over box office numbers, Netflix learned something more valuable. Attention is the new currency. And it worked. Netflix became global. Netflix became dominant. Netflix became the standard. But there was always one thing Netflix didn't fully control: the past, the legacy IP, the franchises, the cultural pillars that built Hollywood long before streaming existed. And that's where Warner Bros. Enters the story. Warner Bros. Isn't just a studio, it's Batman, Superman, Harry Potter, DC, HBO, decades of storytelling power. If Netflix could absorb that, if Netflix could own that history, the streaming war wouldn't just be over, it would be rewritten. That's why the idea of Netflix moving toward a Warner Bros. Takeover sent shockwaves through the industry. Because this wasn't just expansion, this was domination. But here's the mistake everyone made. They assumed Netflix was the only player bold enough to try. They forgot about Paramount. Paramount has always been underestimated, quiet, traditional, old Hollywood to its core. But Paramount also owns something dangerous: institutional experience, deep industry relationships, and a willingness to play defense when survival is on the line. While Netflix played offense in public, Paramount studied the board. And what they saw terrified them. Because if Netflix gained Warner Bros., Paramount wouldn't just lose market share. They'd lose relevance. They'd become optional. And in Hollywood, being optional is the first step toward extinction. So Paramount did something bold, something aggressive, something that changed everything. They didn't counter publicly. They didn't tweet. They didn't tease. They moved directly where it mattered most. Ownership. This wasn't a friendly deal. This wasn't a partnership. This was a hostile maneuver, a power play designed to block Netflix at the source. Because if Paramount could control Warner Bros., Netflix couldn't. And suddenly, the narrative flipped. This wasn't Netflix acquiring Hollywood. This was Hollywood fighting back. Behind the scenes, boardrooms heated up. Lawyers stepped in. Regulators paid attention. Shareholders started asking dangerous questions. Who controls the future of content? Who decides which stories get funded? Who wins when streaming becomes monopoly? This is where the battle stops being about movies and starts being about influence. Netflix operates on data. Paramount operates on legacy. Netflix wants scale. Paramount wants stability. Netflix wants speed. Paramount wants control. And Warner Bros.? Warner Bros. Is the battlefield. Because whoever wins Warner Bros. Doesn't just gain content. They gain leverage. They gain negotiation power. They gain cultural dominance. They gain the ability to dictate the next era of entertainment. This is why the takeover matters. Not because of one company, but because of what it represents. A shift from studios to platforms, from theaters to algorithms, from art to analytics. And here's the twist no one talks about. The audience is already choosing sides. When Netflix drops a show, it's global overnight. When Paramount releases content, It fights for attention. The question isn't who has better stories. The question is who controls distribution. And control beats creativity when money is involved. This takeover battle exposed a truth Hollywood hates admitting. Streaming didn't disrupt the industry. It replaced it. And now, the old guard has one last chance to protect itself. That's why this isn't over. Because regulators will slow it down, boards will resist, executives will posture. But momentum is already moving, whether Netflix wins or Paramount blocks the move. One thing is certain. The age of independent studios is ending. The future belongs to whoever controls attention at scale. This isn't a movie plot. This is real, and it's happening right now. So the next time you open Netflix or scroll past a Paramount release, remember this moment, because what you're watching today isn't just entertainment. It's the result of a war you were never supposed to see. And the winner? They won't just change streaming. They'll change Hollywood forever.
That little miniature human being from House of the Dragon.